that is also there on the YouTube. So again, we definitely greet each and everyone in the name of Damawe Haile Selassie the First, Negus and Nagast. Let us say love and harmony and blessed love to one and all, and shalom and strength. I welcome you to another edition of what is known as Rasta Roundtable. Of course, this is a program where we gather at our new time every Wednesday evening, approximately 8 p.m., and speak of things that are pertinent to Rastafari, different issues. As you know, for the last month and plus, we've been somewhat, I wouldn't say stuck, but we've been hovering around the whole concept of the authenticity of the Ethiopian history. But it's all good, because that's the genesis of it. That's really where we began. It's an Ethiopian thing as such. So if we're going to move forward, it is good that we would at least have that aspect of it correct. So family, this evening, of course, most of you know the full panel, and you know what we have been reasoning about. So we're not going to spend too much time this evening, before we get into the meat of the matter as such. But I would like to say blessed to the full panel. We have with us Ras Iser and my Lord, blessed love. We have Ras Kwama is with us. Give thanks.
Yeah, blessed and greetings to all the ones on the panel and the listeners.
And of course, we have Ras Kwama.
Yes, sir. Greetings, blessings.
Of course, and Koma Dread, my Lord, give thanks for stepping in.
Yes, man, give thanks. I was having a little technical difficulties, but everything's sorted.
Live and direct. And of course, the Rabbi himself, Rasai Adonisai Tafari. Of course, I know the King of Kings is the Rabbi. You remind us of that,
Sure. Yes, sir. Islam to Islam. Greetings.
And of course, we have with us again special visitor who actually will be somewhat opening the bat for us, as we use that cliche in the cricket world this evening. Family, when we gather here, it's really for reasonment, we gather to uplift each other. It's just like when we come together, when we meet each other, when we're at the tabernacle and we speak of things to uplift each other. We don't speak to each other because we want each other to agree with us. We are trying to learn from each other, and we are growing in strength and in faith and in the reality of what we're dealing with and in life. That is why we touch upon different subject areas. So when we come here, really it's to enlighten ourselves, to enlighten the listeners, and even the listeners will have opportunities to enlighten us as we continue to grow. Ones can disagree, but because we have a mature mind, we have to be able to disagree, in maturity and understanding. And that is why, we have created this program, Rasta Roundtable. So as again, we have been talking about the Ethiopian history for some time, and it has branched off into different areas, the church, the liturgy. We went as far as to go into the Kebra Nagast, which has really taken the spotlight for the last 2 or 3 programs. Then we went into the King's List to some degree, which is still related to that. And I myself did a program previous night right here on Radio Anu, directly dealing with the Kebra, the Ark of the Covenant, because of its relationship to just the whole Kebra Nagast story. As you could see even here, you see the picture of the Ark of the Covenant, as they say, the king sat before it. I purposely put that up as well, just to encourage a little discussion when my time comes around. But this evening, family, Brother Cypher Selassie is going to, as I said, lead us off, as he desired to make a presentation somewhat coming off of the reasoning last week, our previous program. Brother Cypher Selassie, the floor is yours. Blessed Lord.
Yes, beloved family, greetings to one and all in the name of Kadamari, Haile Selassie. Nagusa Salam. Yes, well, why I really asked to come in and make a little presentation is because I wasn't in all of the discussions that have been going on, and I came in I've come in the middle. So I wish to put and when I did come in last week, I came in with words of saying that the Ethiopian king list is astronomically correct, and I can prove, or not, I don't even want to say I can prove, I can tie the Ethiopian king list from the time of 957 straight to 3550 BC. So when I said that is in relationship to what I was hearing, saying that you know, with the myth and all of these things, and with the story of the Kebra and Nagast being a mythology. So where it ended was with where we ended last week, was with Rasta was bringing in, he brought in a date, because I'm very particular on dating, and Rasta, he brought in the interpretation for the mythology, you know, mythos. He gave the definition of mythos, etc., and he tied it to 1840, you know, where the idea of mythos, which we give it as a fictional story, where initially, as the rabbi said, he said that it was initially oral history, and then it had been changed in 1840 of this Western domination of all things to be like it's myth is some sort of fable. You know, it's not a true story. It's not. It's something which is out there. So I just wanted to come in at this stage, because with certain you know, with certain stuff that is academic books, just to show how Western, all what we're talking about, the interpretation of chronology and history is tied to the Western interpretation, because the whole of the Western interpretation is based on the chronology of the Egyptian tombs. So where they have given us the chronology and the dates of the Egyptian tombs, they have then tried to tie biblical history into that. So I just want to give, now I've got a book here. It's called A Test of Time by David Roll. Can you see that?
Yes,
and it says the Bible from myth to history.
Yes,
now,
sir.
This brother here is a very, you know, it's very interesting what he's written in here. But one thing there's just a couple of little things I want to pull out of it, just to bring the depth of what Rasta left us with, the 1840 date, and with the European interpretation of history, which brings everything off of the African level. When we say the African level, or African history is oral history. And if you can read the history, how the Europeans tell us about the kingships of Africa, like the chronology of the kingdoms in Africa, they will tell you the Ashanti kingdom is like from 1760 or something like that, you know, the 18th century. That is how long they are. Well, we know that there was a in Ghana, there was a Ghana empire going way back into the early time of Christ. There was a Ghana empire in existence. So when the Europeans are telling us about this is the date, and we're then using their interpretation of history to validate what we are saying as Rastafari, I think we have to be careful, you know, in using these people of the Western. And one thing I would say, so what I've got here, out of that book of David Roll, he says that biblical archaeologists have some difficulty explaining why the material culture of the United Monarchy of Israel, presently datable to the Iron Age 11A, which is 1000 to 900 BC, does not reflect the grandeur of the kingdom of David and Solomon as described in the Bible. Whereas David Roll notes certain late Bronze Age levels. Now, this is very interesting. I know you're going to jump on this, Priest Isaac. 1350 to 1250 appears to do just that. So what they're saying there is that the archaeological excavations of the kingdom of Israel to be around 1000 BC, the stratum and the archaeology, what they've found, doesn't fit the grandeur as described in the Bible. But they're saying, but around from 1350, which is the time of Akhenaten, down to 1250, they find that opulence, which is described in the Bible. So why I say that also is because now, so this David Roll, he has jumped the chronologies back 200 years. Well, I know, we've spoke about this before, that there is in the BC calculations, there is a margin of error of plus 200 years. So I can see that David Roll has jumped on that, so that is one thing. So that brings us also now to my brother Rasta, who was feeling that the chronology doesn't fit, of David's kingdom and then being 1000, and then you said after, and he ruled for 40 years, and then his son Solomon ruled, so that's 960. Well, and so what, with that being 960, the problem occurring was that how could Menelik I of with a story in the Kebra and Nagast gone to at 22 years old, went to his father in Jerusalem, and then came back with the Ark of the Covenant. So that doesn't fit, the 40 years, etc. But plus also the given, as you I think you was, I can't remember who you was quoting, but I know that Rasa Adonis took the name of the person who you was quoting, who dated it to 1000. Well, the general consensus is that it's 1010, and it also can be pushed back to. The general consensus is that it's 1010, the kingdom of David, and then it can be pushed back plus or minus 20 years. So that would push him up to 1030 BC. Why I'm just saying this is because this issue of chronology is so delicate that to base a conclusion or to bring an argument, or not even an argument, but to bring a possibility that His Majesty's lineage could be false because these people are giving us their history is quite on, I would say, shaky grounds. That's my that's one opinion I have on that. And also one other thing I wanted to say was Amelia.
Reminding the family you're listening to Rasta Roundtable.
Well, what I wanted to say is that also that the whole of, I think I may have said it already, but the whole of the reason for them wanting to get the dating of the Egyptian kings and the pharaohs and and their burials and all of that and their viziers and all of those things is to validate the story in the Old Testament. That is their whole reason. Now, as it was said that by Rasa Adonis, the interpretation of the word mythos came to 1840. Now, I want to bring us to another person named Martin Bernal, Black Athena.
Of course.
Right? Now, this Martin Bernal, he's been on the on the platform. If you looked him up on the YouTube, even if you typed in John Henry Clark, you know, the Black American scholar, the historian. If you look him up, this brother, he goes on a stage and they've gone against these Jewish, or these people with this Jewish interpretation of history. You know, they've been on there to challenge them. You know, like what they say is this the academic discipline of the correctness of it, and so my man David Roth, Martin Bernal, he talks about what they call the Aryan model, right? And the Aryan model, is that what we have? Ah, right, yes. So this is directly linked to the dating of the middle of the first half of the 19th century, which all scholarship, all these professors, all these masters of discipline who work on the shoulders, the next one and the next one and the next one. This is how hold their researches, right? He says here, this is in the introduction of his book. He said, this is Martin Bernal. Most people are surprised to learn that the Aryan model, which most of us have been brought up to believe, developed only during the first half of the 19th century. It is earlier or broad form. In its earlier or broad form, the new model denied the truth of the Egyptian settlement and questions of those Phoenicians, what I call the extreme Aryan model, which flourished during the twin peaks of anti-Semitism in the 1890s and again in the 1920s and 30s, denied even the Phoenician cultural influence. According to the Aryan model, there had been an invasion from the north, which would be from the European lands, right? There would be an invasion from the north, unreported in ancient tradition, which had overwhelmed the local Aegean and pre-Hellenistic culture. Greek civilization is seen as the result of the mixture of Indo-European speaking Hellenes and their indigenous subjects. It is the construction of this Aryan model that I call in this volume, the fabrication of ancient Greece, 1785 to 1985. They've fabricated a whole narrative to bring this white supremacy doctrine to the world. And unfortunately, unless we are able to challenge it with critical analysis, like my brother likes to say, unless we use critical analysis, the critical analysis would have to be able to have another paradigm to challenge that. Otherwise, you are dealing with the same subject matter with the same distorted view. So even our brothers who we hear burning out the Bible and all of those things, saying, oh, the Bible is this and the Bible is that, and I don't know, you foolish people who believing in the Bible and you're bringing Bible to Rasta and all of those things. Rasta, the Bible is the foundation of Rasta. Farai, it is the foundation. And now we want to have a new faculty of understanding, which is based on the historical interpretation of archaeology and what is being brought out from ancient Kemet or ancient Egypt. So we now, as Rastafari, we can bring our own critical analysis of what they're dealing with. But can we challenge their texts? What can we challenge them on? You know, we can challenge, you know, there's a thing which I know that our brethren, the Honorable Rabbi is very au fait on, is the textual analysis. you know, textual analysis, the biblical textual analysis, along with this chronology, which may or may not be right within 200 years, is a stumbling block for Rastafari.
We can make Isa respond.
Yes, I would like to.
Yeah. Well, since I see you put it to him more so that's why.
Well, because quite of the presentation was with Rasta Isa last week. So,
and I know he did mention the rabbi a few times. I'm sure.
Yes, and also
we go around the table, of course,
and Koma Jed.
Everyone will, of course.
Of course.
I myself will have a thing to say. Rasta Isa, you want to come in while it's hot?
Honestly, I don't even know how to respond to this because he is highlighting discrepancy with the dates. Say it could be 1010, it can be as much as 20, 30 years. I don't know the basis of this argument. He seemed to want to discount archaeological way of verifying what the Bible is saying. So, okay, if you throw the archaeological way of verifying what the Bible stories are saying, what other means do we have to use to determine whether the stories and the datelines are correct? The only way I know that you can verify these things is through archaeological research. So if he's going to throw out that perspective, what is he basing the argument on?
Okay. Can I answer that?
You might have to, so we can clarify the points for real. So
well, it's what I'm basing it on is that there is another chronological paradigm which comes out of Africa. There are two world systems. There is the Northern Hemisphere and there is the Southern Hemisphere. The Northern Hemisphere has got its set of chronology, and the Southern Hemisphere has got another set of chronology. And the chronology of the Southern Hemisphere comes right back into what I know you said, you know, something that the I said, Rasta Isa, and when you said about, which is a great thing, which is I wanted to bring in as well, look, where you said that the Lalibela built by, you know, the buildings at Lalibela, the churches, the 11 churches of Lalibela, you said that isn't Judeo-Christian. I think you said that. If I'm wrong, you could correct me. I think you said that, and I'm agreeing with you. I agree with that because there's another dating paradigm that comes out of the number 11. That's why he built 11 churches there, although there are 12 churches there, as Russ, the honourable priest would tell you. But the reason that there's 12 churches is because when you know how the construction, the architecture of how they build Ethiopian churches, they are built within a boundary wall called the Kebra, so that there is a female within one of those church buildings in the Kebra, within the boundary. There is a female church also, which belongs to the nuns, the nunnery. You know, belongs to they're called the what do they call them? The Mahama. I think
I can ask a question, the King. So yeah, before even King Isa and even the rabbi might have to come in here too, you know. So
yeah, I'd like to get on this point.
Yeah, what are you putting forward? That the study of numerology with astronomy is a more efficient way of dating and chronology, putting a time frame. The word is coming off my tongue.
Well, what I can say,
but hold on, than chronicling. That's really the word, but I think than archaeology. That's just my question, because it seems as if Rasta Isa was trying to figure out, well, what you put in archaeology.
I simply need to know. I simply need to know the basis of this, because what this seems like is like, well, these like suppositions that he's putting forward. He's mentioning about different dates and different paradigm of time. What's the foundation of this different paradigm and so on?
Well,
If I may?
I can bring it right now, Rabbi. Just ask.
Yeah. Just to kind of
I'd like
follow
him
up on.
to put forward something that I can then relate to and rationalize what he's saying, because as I said, this just seems like suppositions.
Okay, one moment there, Rabbi. I can bring it right now, King. Just to ask.
Because he has,
I can bring it right now. Right now.
Okay.
I just want to. So in I hear what Ras Ison is saying, but your main challenge, King Cypher Selassie, was that you're more looking at I would say the reality of the Davidic Solomonic dynasty into the Menelik the first and thereof. I think that was your main concept.
yes.
Okay.
Because if we challenge that, we are actually challenging the fact which I brought up in my introduction last week when I say I parachuted in, I've come in without any foundation, like, you know, and I'm trying to make one here to my brethren. You know, my brethren on this panel here, I'm trying to make a foundation, because I flew in last week saying things without clarifying it, or you know, because what I said is that His Majesty wrote in the Constitution that he is descendant, in law, by the way, in law. He wrote this law, right? So if we are going to challenge this, are we going to say that His Majesty is a fantasy?
That's a good point that I would like to us to actually deal with directly too. But I would like to hear what King Rasta Adonis, you know, definitely want to put it.
Yeah. Thank you. To the specific question that Brother Isern had asked.
Yeah.
He said, how are we to, I'm sorry I didn't write it down. I should have wrote it down. But he asked a specific question, and I thought the best answer would be by interpretation. They find a piece of archaeology, a broken monument or something else. What's the first thing they're going to do? They have to try to figure it out. They have to either read the text, interpret the text, and try to date it, and then interpret what the science, what the knowledge, what the evidence, what the conclusions mean within the context. So I think the simple point or the simple answer to the point is by interpretation. It just seems to happen that there are certain scholars that our brother Isern, he favors, and the credibility. They do have some credibility, but we may need to look into these perspectives like Finkelstein. I hear Finkelstein a lot. But Finkelstein still believes there is some credibility. We have a book here about Egypt where Finkelstein is quoted and referenced. So Finkelstein says a lot. So it depends on which book he writes. He writes different books, and sometimes in one book he favors more because of recent discoveries, so forth and so on. But just to follow up on the interpretation, it's about the interpretation. For example, people come to us and say, you believe the earth is 6,000 years old, right? Now, what people don't know that there was Usher, not the singer Usher, the Black American singer, but Usher, U-S-S-H-E-R, not U-S-H-E-R. He had a chronology, and I studied and investigated how his chronology came about. And it came about by him walking around, I think in Ireland. Was he Scottish? I forget if he was Scottish. What was he? He walked around the countryside and he looked at the Bible, Genesis, and he said, oh, this must be 6,000 years. But notice the Bible itself, even ancient Egypt, their chronology is within their particular dynasties. There's Sut and Net, Sut and Bet, they're different dynasties. It's not like one continual chronology. Okay, creation was at this specific date, and therefore what's in Genesis chapter 1 was this date. We don't have that in the Bible itself. We don't even have that in ancient Egypt. What we have in ancient Egypt was when a new pharaoh or new king, a new dynasty came in, they basically dated it based on astrology, based on their beliefs, based on other things. And when the next king came in, his priests also arranged things to date it based on certain natural phenomena that they believe and that they counted time by. So what I'm trying to say is that when people say the earth is the Bible teaches the earth is 6,000 years old. No, there's a popular interpretation that goes back to Usher in the 17th century. I went to look it up, so I'll be accurate. The 17th century, and based on that, the Western European and this tradition that comes down to us today in the Americas, the Caribbean, and elsewhere around the world comes out of that particular interpretation. They're looking at the text and they're deriving an interpretation of the text. This is why we have so many different denominations. For example, they all believe in Jesus. They all believe in the Bible. They all believe in some of the basic, biblical points or doctrines, but they have different interpretations about it. So it's the faculty of interpretation, and to what Brother Isern said, using critical analysis in this. Nothing against critical analysis, but we need to textual analysis and chronology. We need to develop our own chronology and our own way, our own paradigm, as Brother Ra Safer said. So I would say the answer to Brother Cern's question is interpretation and critical analysis and developing our own paradigm of this, not just locking on to Albright or locking on to Finkelstein. But if there's something correct there, let's take this and let's critique it. And let's see whether it stands up to the test. Let's run our own experiments to the best of our ability to derive some sort of perspective that is our own. Interpretation.
Let me just say this. Let me just be very direct and say this. I believe what's going on both yourself, Ras Iodonis, and Ras Cypher, is that you're struggling, you're trying to find a way to maintain the narrative that we have always had, that is based on these mythological stories. The position that we're putting forward, the position that I'm putting forward along with Ras Kwame, seem to uproot everything on that side. As you keep mentioning about what His Majesty say in terms of he being 225 descendants of the King David's line and so on, you're seeing now that the reasoning that we are coming forward with would seem to discount all of that. And you're struggling with that. Because you're not accepting, and because you're not accepting something that I have been saying program after program. And that is, history is divided into two fundamental categories. And traditional history have a particular function. It is for a particular purpose. And whenever you try to use traditional history outside of the purpose that it was intended for, you're going to have these problems that you have here. When you accept, that traditional history and actual history have two separate roles, then it clears everything up. As I tell you, there's a law of claim. If I make a claim and you want to dispute my claim, you got to be able to do it without a shadow of a doubt. If you cannot, even if I make up my story will stand as true. That is law. That is law. Go in any court, speak with any lawyer you want to speak with. Whose law?
Slavery was law too. Go ahead.
That is law.
Slavery was law too. Slavery was law too.
No. Hear me out.
Man makes laws.
Think about
Man
it.
makes
Think about
laws.
it logically.
Man makes laws. Man makes laws. You're struggling. You're struggling, my brother. That's why you said you could not figure out how to answer the brother. The brother said, what you're saying about critical analysis is good. We need to look at our own interpretations. You put Albright as a chronologist of chronologists. Everyone does not accept Albright. Everyone does not accept Albright.
Okay,
Albright
let me
is
qualify
one
that.
of many who propose a chronology.
Okay, slow down, slow down. Let me qualify things for you. Let's go back to what His Majesty said, right? In the olden days, we received the law. And in the modern time, we receive the good news of the gospel. That statement suggests that both Judaism and Christianity were adopted by Ethiopia.
No.
No?
No. That's your interpretation.
So
That's your interpretation of it.
Hold on. Let's go step by step.
That's your interpretation of it.
No, please. Let's go step by step. If I'm wrong about that, tell me, where did these two traditions, how did these two traditions get into Ethiopia? Are you now disputing what His Majesty is saying?
I'm disputing your interpretation of what you say His Majesty is saying. The interpretation. Say it again. Say the first part without Christianity.
Hold on.
Say
His
the first
Majesty
part.
said this, you know. Do you want me to get the book and read it for you?
Hold on, I'm not disputing it. Just say, say the word again, please. And then I will.
It is very clear. Okay, I'm going into your traditional document in the Kebra Nagast. In the Kebra Nagast, it clearly shows, right? That before, hear me, listen. In the Kebra Nagast, even in the traditional document, it's saying that the Queen of Sheba left Ethiopia to visit Solomon. When she left Ethiopia to go to Jerusalem, Ethiopia was not practicing Judaism. That's correct.
That's correct. Go on. That's correct. Agree. Go on. Make your point.
Good. So it is showing that after she go into Jerusalem and she was persuaded via Solomon's wisdom, then Ethiopia adopted Judaism via Menelik the First. No?
She adopted it. She came to wisdom. But not all the country immediately followed because they had very little instruction, according to the Kebra Nagast, until her son went forward. And when her son came back after his bar mitzvah or whatever, he came back with 1,000, according to the narrative, just according to the text, with 1,000 from each of the 12 tribes. So what we had is another tribe among the 100 or so tribes, at least today, of Ethiopia that practice this Judaism or Old Testament Hebrewism. It doesn't say that the whole country, this is into Ethiopia.
But
Ethiopia came in this population that had a particular belief that also influenced the other Ethiopians and became one of the leading, you could say leading faiths in Ethiopia. But there's still other faiths in Ethiopia. There's still other people who worship animists in Ethiopia. There's still others. It wasn't running them out, saying that all of you people who worship rocks and stones or whatever they're still there to this very day. And they were there then.
My brethren, you're missing the point. The point I'm making, I'm not talking about whether the whole of Ethiopia, I'm not talking about whether the whole of Ethiopia adopted the religion. I'm trying to demonstrate to you that the tradition was not in Ethiopia until it entered, whether you want to say via the Queen of Sheba or her son. So that's telling you that the tradition is not homegrown to Ethiopia. It was adopted.
And
Isn't that correct? Isn't that correct?
Well, it all depends on where Jerusalem was. Where is Jerusalem, the city of peace? Where is it?
Okay, draft me a new map. My brethren, draft me a new map and tell me where it was.
Well, as our brother
set forth a new geography then, because even down to His Majesty time, down to His Majesty time, Jerusalem was still over there in Palestine, okay?
That's in His Majesty's time. That's in His Majesty's time.
Okay, so you're changing the narrative. So give us the new map.
No, I'm not because I'll tell you why I'm not changing the narrative is because we can look at a broader vision. Are we saying that when the Queen of Sheba went to visit Solomon, that it was in the geographical place which they now call Israel? Is that thing? Well, because we can bring in our brother Anko Madrid, what he said last week about Kamal Salibi, who has identified the Arabian Peninsula as all of the place, as the whole place of Israel, and has identified. I don't know if you're aware of Kamal Salibi, his work, but he's identified all the places, the biblical names and the places and the people and the thing with the Arabian Peninsula, not the little land up there in what they call Israel.
Well, if I could just come in there, my lord. No, let me come in there. Let me come in there for the I want to honor the top of the hour number one, and just let everyone understand that you're definitely in tune to Rasta Roundtable. Yes, I know it is getting warm, but of course, I just want to, even for those on the YouTube, quite important, we are almost looking to, at the time of this, about 70 people watching. So 14 likes, we need a little more than that, family. You know, those thumbs ups, as they call it, please give us some more of those. And that is why we have to even pay reverence and homage to even the sponsors of this affair this evening, and we will do that right now. So what I'm going to do, family, when we return, I would like personally to hear from Ras Anko Madrid, even on the point that the King Cypher Selassie just put down a moment ago, as far as Arabia and that whole Israel vibration. So family, just give us 1 minute. Let us pay homage to the sponsors of all of this, and we return to the reasoning, and we return to the discussion right about now. It's Rasta Roundtable. So family, just put up the lights and share the video and let your friends know what you're watching and what you're listening to. You have Instagram, you have Facebook, you have WhatsApp, you have your email. Just copy the link and just send it now, because we're gonna be here for the next round, and we'll be here and we'll be giving you good reasoning so everyone could feel joy. All right. Yes, family, just give me a moment. Blessed love, I am the Honorable Priest Isaac. I am an official priest within the realms of Rastafari of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. I also hold a certification in the craft of archaeoastronomy from Politecnico di Milano in Italy. Our universe and its makeup has always been an intriguing subject for humankind. Astronomy is the study of everything in the universe beyond the Earth's atmosphere. Ancient astronomy is similar, but pays special attention to the physical and spiritual values of stars, planets, moons, and other celestial objects. It also brings in the terrestrial component, being things on an earthly plane, such as plants, human organs, and connects them to the heavenly bodies. In this course, you will learn the makeup of various planets and stars, how to locate them in the night sky, along with their associated constellations. You will also be taught about the earliest civilizations known for their astronomical comprehension, namely Kush, also known as ancient Ethiopia, Kemet, called Egypt today, the Dogons, and the Bozos, as well as the civilization of Sumer. You will also learn about black holes, their nature and origin, as well as how the ancients viewed them. Ancient astronomy is the mother of archaeoastronomy and astrotheology. Both subject areas are covered by the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. Sign up today. Visit our website, priestisaacinstitute.com, or email us, priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com for more information. And family, remember, that all of the, the links will be found in the description below the video that you will be watching, those of you who are watching on YouTube. And of course, this is really an exclusive radio annual program talking about Rasta Roundtable. So we give thanks for these special moments. But for sure, family, you join us on Radio Annual every Wednesday evening for such a reasoning and discussion. I like to touch the Brother Anko Madrid, my Lord. Give us a bit of your analysis thus far in this very intriguing conversation.
Yes, man. Give thanks. Give thanks to be here again. Heal up everybody on the panel and whatnot. Rastafari, So far I'm still waiting to really get like a point then of the conversation inside in a to a certain degree. I realize it come like obviously it come like on one side the man I'm saying is a myth, and then one side saying is historical, and basically want to stick with that interpretation. So I ain't really had nothing to really say like I could qualify one or the other, you know what I mean? But yeah, I just listening to the conversation. I ain't really hear nothing since last time. I know Rasta I don't stay. When last time I did talk about the Kebra Nagast story coming out of the Quran, he said he wanted to make a comment, however, he didn't get the chance to make the comment. So, and you had a question for Ison too, so I would have wanted to hear that still.
But Rasta was asking about the book of that Levi wrote. You made a comment there sometime previous program. You want to revisit that?
Right. Well, the Kamal Salibi, he have a book, but basically the book, it would be considered controversial amongst, out there and thing. And the hypothesis of the book, the theory of the book, is that the events of the Old Testament taking place in Arabia instead of the conventional location up in the Levant, And he presents certain linguistic arguments and certain place names and whatnot where it have up there, to where it could have like a convincing argument, or it could, so it requires certain further investigation. And the same region who Ras Iadonis Safari was bringing up the other day now, Bernard Lehman, he just kind of premise his work on the same work of Salibi and certain things like that, But I would say that it's considered a fringe theory. And as far as conventional and mainstream knowledge and things, Israel and Palestine and these places, Jerusalem is up in that zone where everybody conventionally know it to be,
True, my Lord. Give thanks. Yes, I know you were saying before we actually took that that intermission there. You were saying something, King, with that book there?
Yeah, the Bible came from Arabia. And just to the point, the reason why it's quote so-called fringe is because many of the sites have not been excavated. Many of the sites have not been excavated at all in many different key places, because this theory will blow up that whole Middle East. They know this. So there's also other reasons why some things are suppressed and other things. One thing you said, Brother Ikoma, when you said minimalists and maximalists. So they're trying to keep this perspective to the minimum and maximizing, you know, other so-called archaeology, but ignoring other places that have not been excavated. You know, even large parts of Ethiopia still have not been excavated. So I'm saying is that we can't dismiss the claims based on archaeology if certain places have not been excavated. Until they found King Tut's tomb, right? There was one perspective, but then they found a lot of things in the time of His Majesty. They even moved that whole temple during the time of Nasser. They found so much in a recent time, and they say based on the new discoveries, it totally changed a lot of the views of ancient Egypt, the Bible, so forth and so on, because of new archaeology. So it's only a fringe theory because a lot of the facts, at least based on archaeology, cannot be proven, but linguistically, it's already been proven. Textually, it's already been proven. I yield on that right there. And my point about the Quran, one more thing, the point about the Quran was that in 600 AD, in the 600 AD, the time of Muhammad, this view that there was some relation between a Solomon of Israel and the Queen of Sheba, the Queen of the South, was already in circulation in Arabia. So before Islam came up, what was in Arabia? Arabia had a lot of Jewish and Christian populations, not just Jews like Jews of today, but many Arabs. People think that most Arabs are even Muslims. Many of them are, but there's many who are Christians and Jews as well. And that whole region of Arabia and elsewhere was populated by different communities of Jews and Christians, some of them Arabs, some of them other people, some of them natives who can trace their descendancy. But what happened was that in 600 AD, Muhammad and the Quran, it testifies that 600 AD, this story was already known. So howbeit, they're speaking of other people, so they know about these stories. Where did he get these stories from? These stories were already circulating. So this even says that it goes beyond 1260 and the Kebra Nagast in its present form. They were already narratives. This shows us that there's some truth to it, even if one wants to say it's so-called mythological. From the true sense, it's oral tradition. We can't dismiss oral tradition. Oral tradition is a part of it, and also scientific study is a part of it as well. But the Europeans don't own the copyright to science or knowledge or review or criticism or interpretation. And we need to get out of that. That's the point right there. You know, that's why Soren says that he tries to project and say, we're having trouble. We're not really having trouble. This is light work. We're just being respectful. I yield.
Can I come forward just with a
Let me allow you guys to say all that you need to say, because you're taking this reasoning all the way around. I was just about to demonstrate that both Judaism and Christianity were adopted by Ethiopia. I was using His Majesty's speech to verify this. And I'm hearing all kind of reference to all kind of book and archaeology and dancing around that particular point. I need to get you guys to speak with a straight face on that.
Yeah, okay, please
so
read.
So let me know directly if it is true, according to His Majesty, that when in the Old Testament time, Ethiopia received the law, and when in the New Testament time, she received the gospel. Receive suggests to me that they got it from somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm saying that it has been adopted into Ethiopia. Are you guys disputing that?
Yes.
You're disputing it?
No. Let me answer him first. Because he said we're bouncing around. He talked about archaeology. We say yes, archaeology, but beyond.
No, we're not talking archaeology now.
I'm gonna get to that right now. Okay, based on that right there, I have it right here too. Ethiopia, an island of Christianity. Are all Ethiopians Christians? Let me ask you that.
But we're not talking about all.
No. Answer the question. No, we're not talking about that. Listen, we're reasoning. We're reasoning. You're not dominating this. We're reasoning. You asked me a question. I'm asking you, are all Ethiopians Christians?
I have established that point in previous program.
So
I am the one who
we're not in the
said
previous program now, but are all Ethiopians Christians?
Of course not.
Okay. So when His Majesty said that Ethiopia received the law in Old Testament times and the gospel, it does not mean that this was imposed upon everyone, that people was not free in their own beliefs or different tribes. A certain tribe of people, according to the narrative, came in. Hold on for a moment. You make it seem like Ethiopia just received the Bible and they start reading the Bible and they say, hey, we need to stop what we're doing and we need to become Jews or we need to become Christians. No, a group of people came forward. You know what I mean? It's people and people, the sociology that we're talking about here concerning Ethiopia, not a religion like Judaism among others or Christianity among Europeans dominating, killing and pillaging and forcing everybody to believe something. No, it's a totally different concept. Perhaps being in some of those European scholars have you looking at projecting on Ethiopia the same thing that happened with European Christians and Jews. It's not the same thing. They didn't just receive a Bible. They didn't just receive a New Testament or Old Testament and said, oh, we all got to become Christians now. No.
But who was suggesting that anyhow?
A group of people came in. A group of people, we could say a tribe came in amongst the other tribes of Ethiopia, and over time, according to history and the narrative, became one of the dominant unifying forces in Ethiopia. This is what His Majesty is speaking about, not a religious dogmatism or domination of people as we have in the European and other places in the world. So this
who was suggesting it? Was I suggesting that?
I didn't say, did I say you were suggesting that?
So why are you answering along those lines?
Listen, I'm not your mouth. I'm not your mouth, brother. You asking me, why am I answering this? Like you dominate. We're having a reasoning. So I'm presenting a perspective and you're getting antsy about it. You're trying to project on me, oh, we struggling. We're not struggling. This is not a struggle. We're reasoning. So I didn't say you suggested anything. I'm giving the audience a perspective that in some way is counter to your perspective. So let it be. Let's reason.
To me, that way of responding is taken away from the main focus of what I'm delivering. I'm trying to say
what we're reasoning about, or you're delivering.
Please let me speak. Please let me speak, man. Because I don't have time for the confusion. I want clarity. I'm trying to get across one simple point. That both of these traditions was adopted by Ethiopia. I'm not saying the whole country had it. I already said in previous program, it is said that Ethiopia have 72 different languages. All right, I've said these things. All these things that you're saying, I've said that on previous programs. The simple point I'm trying to make here is that His Majesty speech is suggesting that both of these traditions was adopted, whether it's by one or by many, it was adopted into Ethiopia. Are we disputing that?
Yeah, I'm disputing your word adopted, and let's go to the text. It received. They received this along with everything else that Ethiopia had. Yes, it received, not adopted.
Oh, so we're going to do semantics now.
No, can I come in?
Semantics is important. Semantics is important. You rely on translations made by others, right? And it's based on semantics, how they translate and how they interpret things.
My brethren,
receive is different than adopted. Receive, if I receive you, is different than I adopt you. I receive your reasoning. I don't adopt your reasoning. You see the difference? I receive your reasoning.
The simple point is these traditions weren't in Ethiopia before. Okay. It was received. It came into Ethiopia. That's the simple point.
Okay, that's your point. That's your point. Do you have a problem with Ethiopia receiving those traditions?
What do you mean if I have a problem? I'm just simply trying to make a point.
You keep saying over and over, receive, as though this is something.
And I'm asking you guys to concur.
Yeah.
If that was so, if you dispute that point.
Yes, I've disputed. I want to come in, please.
Okay, explain to me what the real story is, sir.
Okay, I gave you my point, and now brother will give you his point. I just want to make sure you understand my point. I agree that they received this. We spoke. My brother, come forward with your point. Give thanks. Give thanks, Rasta, son. Thank you.
Thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. Yes. They received the law. What is the law? Is it the law of the universe? If they receive the law of the universe, that means that the knowledge of the heavens, or what we call the heavens, the ark of the earth, the ark above the earth, they received that knowledge come down. So when His Majesty said he received it, is he saying that we received the Jewish religion? Did he say we received in the Jewish religion? He said we received this tradition. The tradition is knowledge. The knowledge is what? Is it the knowledge of the stars, which the sun and the moon and the stars, which they tell us that the Bible is built on the knowledge of that? So this is where I'm coming from. I'm not coming. Hold on, brethren. Let me finish.
No, it's just, I'm going to allow you. I just want to put a question to you that you can clarify to me exactly what.
Let me finish. Let me
make him finish. I said, if you don't want the question, make him see that. Make him see that. He said, go, Joe.
So I will drop a bomb right on the whole thing. I will say that what you're calling Judaism, which is what the Europeans are dealing with, is Hebrew, which came from Ethiopia and went out to the land which they call Israel now. It didn't come into Ethiopia, it came out of Ethiopia into them lands, into the northern hemisphere, because the origin of all of this is in Ethiopia. The origin of all things is in Ethiopia. The origin of all knowledge is in Ethiopia. And when I say Ethiopia, I mean the Ethiopian continent also. I'm not talking about particularly that little piece of land we call Ethiopia now, even though that the King of Kings and this royal lineage is there now. Because if you read the Ethiopian king list, you will see that not all of those people in the Ethiopian king list were resident in the place they call Ethiopia now. For instance, even the people of Kerma is in what they call Sudan right now, where there is another set of Black African people bringing the knowledge. And I have to bring my brethren Priest Isaac in here with the knowledge of Apedimek. This is the knowledge, this is the root of all of this. The root of it all is coming out of there. So when you're saying that Ethiopia received it, that's why I say, where is Jerusalem? Because Jerusalem is the city of peace, which is lowered down from the heavens into the earth. Well, what is the first city, according to history of Kemet, of the texts of ancient Kemet? Where is the first city of Jerusalem? It is in a place called Elephantine Island, which was called Yebu. It was the first city of God on earth. It is where the River Nile, the two confluences of the River Nile come into the earth. And everything to do with the Messiah, to do with the god Tameri, Talakumeri, all of these things are to do with the Nile god Happy. So all of the things that you're saying, my brethren, I'm not, and I don't want to argue with you. It's not, we don't, but I've got another perspective. So before you even know what my perspective is, you're like trying to fight me down, or not what I'm saying down. Well, you don't know what I'm saying because I was trying to build into it. But you're trying to get into arguments over whether European archaeology, because this is the crux of what I am saying, and this is the crux of, I don't want to speak for Rasta Adonis, but just listening to what you said, he's saying also that the paradigm, what you're using to give credit, to challenge the credibility of Ethiopian history is Europeans, the same people who we're fighting against as Rastafari. You're using their academia to fight against Rasta. Or not say Rasta, I will say Rasta, because you're saying His Majesty, if you're saying what you're actually saying is His Majesty's lineage is myth, it's not real. That's what you're saying, brethren. Or am I wrong?
You're absolutely wrong. Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Well, if I'm wrong, I need you to explain that again. Because what I got to understand from your speech last week, where you was bringing Prince Ermias into the subject, saying that we now need to take care of Prince Ermias because Prince Ermias is of the Davidic line. One thing, and you spoke about his delivery to the Library of Congress. Well, you've got it in the text. Well, in the text, which I've got here, I haven't got the text, but I've got the actual thing on the YouTube, you know, like where we can watch the video of it. And at 36:58 in that video, so you must have it on the text, and I hope you can find it. You know, these are the things I wanted to bring up to the eye. It says in there that he doesn't really know about what the origin of the Lion of Judah is. He doesn't know. He said it right there, in there. Look, this is it. I've got it frozen. I don't know if you can see. I've got it frozen on him there, where he's just saying that he doesn't know the origin of the Lion of Judah. When he begins the thing, he says, I'm not a theologian, right? He says, I'm not a theologian. He then spoke about the different aspects of what you were talking about, the social norms of taking these things, the cultural norms, using these things. He speaks about all those in good language, you know, in fluffy language. But the crux of the matter, what you took out of it, what you took from it, is that what he was saying about the fact of it being myth and, you know, and how he explained it. Well, what I took from it is he said in his own words, he doesn't know. So if he said in his own words, he doesn't know about the Lion of Judah, how can we use him to debunk his great-grandfather? When the Ethiopian people, just because they're Christian, doesn't mean that we have to follow them. Because he isn't Kadamari Haile Selassie. He's his descendant, I agree, but so are we. Right? So are we his descendants, because we are children of him. We are his children, and they're his children also, but we are his children who have got a different outlook to Ethiopians. And I've got enough evidence here, my brethren, I can bring to the table, and I've got it marked out already of it from his granddaughter, Esther Selassie. She wrote the book, Rastafari, Ethiopians and Rastafari. I don't know if are you familiar with that book, brethren?
Brethren.
Are you familiar? Anybody familiar with that book?
I need to get a copy.
Ethiopians and Rastafari.
I don't know what we're doing here tonight, you know, because
we're
trying to focus. I'm trying to focus the reasoning by going point by point, and all kind of perspective is introducing from all kind of direction. And according to how we put things here on the ground, like red herring is being dragged around the tree.
But the crux of the matter is,
I don't know what's going on. I don't know the basis of your positions. I just don't know what's going on here. We have a situation where the Falashas, according to the traditional teaching which you guys support, the Fadashas during His Majesty time were migrating back to Israel, Palestine, saying that's their homeland, that they came down into Ethiopia during the time of Menelik I, Queen Asheba's son. They're saying they leave up there and come into Ethiopia at that time. And in His Majesty time, they were seeking to migrate back into Israel. What is that telling us about the tradition of Judaism?
Can you give us a citation on that? You speak about that. I challenge you on that. You said it was in that book. Then you backtrack and said it wasn't in the book. Can you give us a citation on that?
I did not say that.
During His Majesty's time, you said the Falashas were migrating back to Ethiopia. During His Majesty's time, the Falashas were migrating back to Ethiopia. This is what you said. Substantiate that. Back it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely a warm evening to all. This one is a very I will have my
Rasta Adonis, he said back to
Hold on.
My bad. That's incorrect.
Hold on. I want to deal with this because I went on Ras Adonis' channel and he did a video on the Kebra Nagast, and he's making all kind of misrepresentation of my position.
according to you? Go ahead.
I sent a message to you in the chat. I hope you read that and that we can settle that matter. Let me go in the book right now at page 66. Grab your copy. Alliance and Alienation. I mentioned that I've read it in the book, but I don't remember off the top where it was. And then you go and represent that as, oh, I make quotes and then I backtrack because it's nowhere in the book and all kind of funny stuff you're talking.
Well, people can look at the video. People can look at the video. It's on video.
Let's go at page 66. Get your book.
Page 86, you said?
66.
66. Okay, got you. Let me get my copy. Go ahead. I got the number.
I don't know if the layout is the same as mine, but if you go from the second paragraph that starts out with Haile Selassie was willing to permit Beta Israel cultural and religious activities, but not Zionist activities under any circumstance. In the beginning of the 1950s, the emperor focused on annexing new territories and peoples, such as Eritrea and Somalia, to his empire, and was therefore very concerned about the political awakening of Ethiopian Muslims. The Imperial Conceptual Platform, a concept, right, was articulated in the new constitution that he promulgated in November 1955. It defined Ethiopia in distinct territorial, supra-ethnic, and supra-religious terms, and defined Ethiopians as all of the country's inhabitants. Haile Selassie fervently denied the right of any group to be defined in any way that would justify separation from immigration from Ethiopia. For him, recognition of this sort was tantamount to the beginning of the dismantling of the empire, of which the Ethiopian Jews were part and parcel. In January 1954, the emperor spoke with André Chouaki, the representative of Alliance Israelite Universal, an organization from southern France, that basically was spreading the faith of Judaism, all right? Who told his host about the interests of the president of Israel in the Falashas. They had interest in the Falashas based on the traditional claim that the Falashas went down into Ethiopia during the time of Menelik I. In response, the emperor made it clear that he would oppose any activity aimed at Ethiopians immigrating to any other country. Rabbi Beery reported from his visit with Haile Selassie a few months later that in no way can one even mention immigration to Israel in the presence of the emperor. That's the part I was making mention of, that His Majesty was having problems, right, with the Falashas wanting to go back to Israel, claiming that they have biological connection, that they actually came down there according to the traditional teaching. I quote a part in this book on the last program, where they said the determining factor for nationalism was consciousness, whether the Falashas think that they are Jews or not. I mentioned about that and made the point that they weren't Jews biologically. They were Jews by conversion. And I'd like to go forward to make a further point right there. Because you see, we have to answer the question, was the Jews an ethnic group or not? We got to answer that. Because in the earlier days, when a person converts to Christianity, we say they are Christian. If you convert to Islam, they say you're a Muslim. But when you convert to Judaism, that's when you are declared a Jew. So Jew really came about by conversion, not because they are an ethnic group. The concept of the ethnic group came about, like if you have me, like if you have myself then, and let's say I have an empress, and we subscribe to Judaism, and then we have children, you say that's a Jewish family. Then it start taking on a different connotation because it start now being represented as an ethnicity. But a Jew is simply a person that practices the religion of Judaism. And that's the way how the Jewish tradition got into Ethiopia as well, by conversion, not because they were an ethnic group.
According to whom?
Okay, hold on. He said a whole lot there. You said a whole lot there. You said a whole lot there. At the end of it, you add the biological, no biological connection. And that was based on your quote, I believe, from this book before, this book right here, in the quote before, where it was the European Jews that were reasoning and debating whether they wanted to accept these Black Jews from Ethiopia. That's based on their own opinion, right? What you mentioned just now, before you brought up this quote, was that the Falashas were migrating to Israel. No, a few of them were, asking about it because the Europeans were there, so forth and so on. And he did allow, in the same page here, Haile Selassie was willing to permit Beta Israel's cultural and religious activities, but not Zionist, European Zionist activities under any circumstances. And this is the reason why His Majesty and the Imperial Ethiopian government also abstained in 1948 when the whole State of Israel thing had come up before the United Nations. Ethiopia abstained.
What's
Now,
the difference between
why
the
did Ethiopia abstain? I mentioned this because I'm going to the same book you brought up, and I give thanks that you brought out a very good, interesting area, and it requires critical analysis. You gave your opinion on it already after you read it. Here on the same page, Haile Selassie was willing to permit Beta Israel's cultural and religious activities, but not Zionist activities under any circumstances. That point backs up.
I get your point. Can I ask a question quickly?
Mm-hmm.
Can I quickly ask your question? You can continue. Please. But I want to put a question there. What's the difference between Beta Israel cultural and religious activity and the Zionist position? What's the difference between these two things?
White supremacy.
The European 740 AD latter-day converts to Judaism who have hijacked the religion, who have hijacked the whole thing. Yeah, that's the difference right there. The 740 AD, because European conversion to Judaism and their subsequent, you could say like what they do with Christianity, whitewash and just took over everything, like they do with Egypt. They made people believe Egypt is a white country. Legally, legally, Egypt is a white country. Legally, it's a white country. It's part of the European.
What's the origin? Okay. I hear you're saying some stuff there. So clarify for me.
Remember the point about claims.
Clarify for me. What's the origin of Judaism?
Okay, you have Judaism has to do with the latter-day religious belief exclusively. What we have in the biblical narrative is people who are Israelites, right? When Israel gets divided, it's only Judah left. Judah, the tribe of Judah. Judah develops a particular, you could say, religious concept, and some people convert to that concept, and they are called Jews by conversion, but you still have an ethnic group of people who are Yehudi, or who are Judeans. Paul in the Bible, he's of the tribe of Benjamin, but he says, I'm a Jew. Jew in the language is Yehudi. There was no ism back then. It was just that you're right about some convert, if they're not of the tribe or not of the people, their conversion is religious. While you have those of the tribe, like, for example, in the Bible, Jesus, right? He says salvation's of the Jews. He didn't say of Judaism. He said of the tribe of Judah and the way the tribe of Judah maintains its way. It's like today we'll say, some will say, Rastafari Rasta comes out of Jamaica. And therefore Jamaica for a long time has been a kind of a litmus test in the West, especially for Rastafari and around the world. That's the same thing with the tribe of Judah concerning Judaism, right? But Judaism is a latter-day concept that the Europeans have coined to serve themselves, you know, religious, and then they're ethnic people. They're ethnic people when they want to be, and they're religious people. But the data states that they are not Semitic people. The data states that they're not Semitic people.
So you're saying to me that the origin of Judaism is in the Bible?
No. I'm saying the origin of Judaism is a religious political concept that has developed after the time of the Bible, after the time of the New Testament Bible. Judaism. You cannot find Judaism is like saying Rastafarianism, fire bun. It's Rastafari. The elders said Rastafari. They would not even suffer Rastafarian. People would say, you're a Rastafarian, but the original Rastafari said, we are Rastafari because he is Rastafari Kedemawi Haile Selassie. But later on, people now suffer Rastafarianism. And then some of us are answering and say, tell us about Rastafarianism. Well, Rastafari, did we burn up isms? Did we understand the isms?
What is Judaism based on?
The European interpretation of
interpretation of an ancient African Semitic way, yeah. That's what it's based on. Judaism at large is a Eurocentric interpretation of an Afro-Semitic. Note, even the language is African Semitic. You can't get that yet, right? They even acknowledge that in linguistic science, according to science, it's African Semitic. Judaism is a Eurocentric interpretation of an African Semitic way of life and culture. That's what Judaism is. Judaism is a modern spin on the African tradition, basically, as is popularly practiced in the world today. It's a modern concept.
All of the Jewish tradition, let me say this to you. All of the Jewish tradition that you yourself practice, the language of Hebrew, right? Those things, check out a guy they call Rashi, Solomon Bar Isaac. He's the one who wrote the protocol for that religion. That religion is actually, as you stated.
He's so late. He's not the first rabbi. He's a latter-day European rabbi. Even his name, Rashi. Rasha means wicked. But anyway, he's a latter-day Jewish rabbi who some of the things are okay, but he is like Maimonides. Maimonides was a French rabbi. You picking and choosing latter-day people that you want to hang your whole argument on. Judaism is not based on just
you do not
one
know
European rabbi, but the collective of their interpretation of Black people's culture. This has gone on in other things today, where they interpret our culture and sell it back to us. Basically.
Yeah, but why are you calling yourself Jews?
Why we
if they created all of that.
Okay, the same reason why we call ourselves.
They created the Pentateuch.
I'm gonna answer that. I'm gonna answer that.
The 5 books of Moses. Hold on.
Listen. You
they
asked me a
created
question, right?
the same European that you're talking about.
I'm talking about what's called Judaism.
The
Judaism. They didn't create the Torah. Come on, get off it, man.
That's Judaism is based on the Torah.
You know what? The European write a book and say, I own it, and you say that's his claim, and you co-sign it. I'm not co-signing that claim. You're trying to say that the basic tenet of the faith belongs to the European people. You're saying that the Bible tradition is a European tradition? This is what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what you said.
The books that we call the 5 books of the Bible, the first 5 books of the Bible, is the same thing as the Torah.
Yeah, the books.
And Judaism is based on those writings.
Yeah, Judaism is based on their interpretation, their practice of writing.
And that's the same writing that we are embracing. We are embracing. It is those same books that we are embracing. Everything that they write in these books that they say they're presenting as history. We're
Yes,
just
let
trying to paint it black.
Let me come in here.
But we're accepting the same works.
Let me come in
And
here.
they created it.
Yeah, man, blessed love. Let me come in here. Beautiful, beautiful. I think that yeah, give thanks, you know. Just making sure we're looking at the time. We're gonna look to seal up this program here for this hour here in a few moments. And you see, like,
your confusion, Rasta.
Yeah, I want to answer his question.
him up, please, please.
The man
No, please,
Rasta.
no, please, what's going on?
Stop
Let me talk.
projecting, bro. Stop projecting, man.
Let me talk now. No,
Not
you're
that
not
way,
gonna do me that.
Man.
Wait, that's what's going on here. That's what's going on here.
Here you go. Sorry, let me put on.
I'm on your channel. Let me.
So man have to mute the mic so nobody can hear. We can't just sit down and listen. No, man, we have to do a little better than that, man.
No, listen, I'm just trying to just cool this thing down because I tell you.
No, let me come. No, let me come in, man. Let me come in. I listen to them out, man. I listen to not listen to man. Let me no, man, this is not nice. And I like that part there, bit. Even though the item was going back and forward, I respect the going back and forward. I think it's healthy too. I don't have no problem with it, but we still supposed to have a little more discipline. I come in now, and I'm saying, I still mean what I say, man, not supposed to have to put the mic on mute just to sit back now and just make the moderator speak. Straight up, no feel no way, that's how it is. Now, I'm just saying that I consider the discussion healthy. I mean, there are a few things in there I think was unnecessary from I and I towards each other. I mean, you can't force nobody to believe what you believe. Myself, personally, I get very real ratted with anybody try act as if they're upset with me because I'm not bowing to their way, especially when I know what's inside of my head. So we can't adopt that shotgun sort of mentality as if because you tell somebody 10 times. All of us around here, the reason why I call the ones them that are here, because I respect everybody here as a scholar. I think they them have deep thinking. Even Rasqua might have gone. I don't know why he left. So anything I put to the item or the item put to me, I respect your way of thinking. I don't think that you're purposely stiff-necked. If you are, well, that's just between you and your maker. But if you're not exactly seeing it my way, I'm not gonna get vexed with you off, get away like I tired of this. No, we have to come a little better than that because we are mature and we're representing ourselves before people at the same time. And again, because I am a thinker and a studier, me personally, I full joy the reasoning. I wanted to add certain things, but I'm gonna leave that for another time. What I think about this discussion, if we're really serious of putting it out, believe it or not, it needs a broader forum than this. It might be still online, but no, I'm serious. If we're serious, we don't want to be upset. We're not trying to, we just want the truth out. And there are means and ways of doing it. I don't want it to even come as if it looked like a debate. Because even when you say them terms, especially in this modern time, it go off. The debate is what is done amongst scholarly people, you know, and it has a specific result at the end, not just people going home scratching their head, wondering who quote unquote won. So I don't want that idea, but we really need to put hours into this, even if we livicate a Sunday afternoon and give it time. When I say time, like it could be 3 weeks from now, get the people together too, and we sit in properly and we organize it and structure it. Everyone come with their facts and their PowerPoints, and you just have to make up your mind. You're not going to leave and a whole congregation following you say, yeah, this is the man that have the truth. If you go into the chat there on YouTube, you see how it's like they're flinging stones at one another, you know, and it's like almost like an energy that coming off of what's happening here. Me personally, honestly, I know some people might be listening and say, oh no, this is getting a little out of hand, though we don't go so, but honestly, I don't find it got no out of hand. It just, there was a few exchanges that I really didn't think was necessary, you know, amongst I and I as a brotherhood. But the discussion, to me, was good. And let me say another thing. I must say that what I noticed even with His Majesty, even while we were speaking, you know, I was hearing myself say, is there anything, I trying to see the things His Majesty say that I either disagree with or I use or to say, well, you know, he only saying this for that. The reason why I say that is because I notice, just like how some people say, people use the Bible, pick out the scripture they want, or they use it for their own, and say, well, look, they pick this because this one will work with them, but this one don't work with them. And I noticed that amongst, and I don't mean this panel, you know, I talking Rastafari, and ones would accuse other ones of doing that His Majesty said this, His Majesty said that. And then a person will say, well, no, His Majesty only said this because, or he said this because of this reason, or he didn't really mean this. But then we gravitate to something else that he said as a strong point, like, well, no, look, His Majesty saying this. Now, I'm saying, no, is this correct? And as I say, I'm myself thinking within myself, now, what is it His Majesty say that maybe I have a qualm with? I didn't really come across anything really in my mind, but it's something to look into. So personally, I think once the ones them agree with me, I think we should create a proper programming to somewhat, we'd have to find the direct topic, as the brethren say. If we pick a topic, we have to stick on a topic. And I don't think we're yes and no people too, you know. I mean, sometimes you have to answer in depth. As I said, to me personally, I didn't lose nothing here tonight. I got a good vibes personally, and I give thanks for it. I just hope we can leave here in a good, warm brotherhood. We don't have to worry about nothing, man. We good. It's just knowledge, it's information. You know, once we genuine in our heart. So if everyone agree with it, you know, Uncle Madrid, tell me what you think. That we good. We have we all take a time, even if it's a Sunday afternoon from 12 to 6, we create a whole webinar and bring others as part of it. If it's just to give the people a little entertainment, make a whole day of it then. Make it something edifying, still entertaining to a degree. And we really put the work in. So if I and I get an hour to sit down, if Ras Isern get an hour to sit down and get his stats together and all his works and so we can read it on the screen and pictures, and then at the end of the day, just keep in mind, you know, you're not converting nobody really as such. It's not no convert thing, but at least the universe will understand that your point was clearly made. I like to say that. Whether you agree or disagree, one thing I know, my point was clearly made. So that's what I would add here. A few things I wanted to say, but in the interest of time too, I think I would have preferred to give that little message there. So just love the brothers, just love, man. Don't feel no way, man. Just love everything all right. You know,
I see, from what I see with the conversation and what I understand generally, it come like people that are accustomed interpreting the Bible and the Kebra Nagast and these things as literal history. It come like it kind of offensive to, in a way. Some people might get offense to when somebody come in and telling them is a mythology or is a literary tradition.
Sorry, got you.
So then and yeah, so it come like in a way, Ras Ison saying that Ras Cypher and Ras Adonis come like they're doing damage control and trying to preserve the biblical narrative and these things as literal historical things, you know what I mean? And on the next side, these they kind of have it like if Ison going against Rastafari tradition or Rastafari himself as an individual by not accepting these things as literal history or whatever it is. So that's the gap there, that's the gulf they were going on right now, as far as I could tell, you know. But give thanks to the chat. Anyway,
I'm saying they're saying that all what you say they're saying that in the chat. But sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
And Como. give thanks for the analysis thing, because that's exactly what's going on. At least from my perspective, that is exactly what's going on. And I wouldn't really necessarily use the term damage control per se, but I understand that they're trying to preserve that particular view. But I think that in previous program, I have clearly put forward reasoning that show that that traditional view has its place. It's not a case like you take it and throw it away, but you have to put it in its proper perspective. Okay? They have a saying, contemporary culture shine brighter when reflected in the mirror of antiquity. And so a lot of these writings, they have been backdated anachronistically to bring a certain mystique to it. I've said all of these things on the program. It's not because they're trying to deceive any, but you're trying to lay a historical foundation. Nationhood is something that's fairly recent. If we decide today that we're going to start a nation, what would we present as the ancient history for that nation, given that the nation is starting here in 23? We would have nothing, because the nation just began in 23. And when farming nations in those early days, that's exactly what they do. They use contemporary values and create stories and backdate them and let that officially represent the history of the country. And that is referred to as tradition. And that has a particular function in terms of organizing the psyche of the people. It is not frivolous. It is not lying. It is not deception. It is a tool. You understand? And as you rightfully say, these brethren seem not to want to accept it as such, but want to make it into literal history. And there's where the whole friction is happening. You understand? I believe, I mean, if you read up on mythology, there are a number of books about mythology and what mythology was created for. It is African people that created mythology, not European people. It was the Africans who created mythology. And it was created for a particular purpose. In modern time now, the modern mind looking at mythology now as just false. It's a myth, it's false, and just dismiss of it. But it has deeper meaning to mythology than just falsehood. It has nothing to do with falsehood, in fact. It is psychology. This is the ancient people way of organizing, of doing psychology, so to speak, ordering the minds of people, setting a worldview for the people and so forth. And when we do not view these writings in that context, then we're going to get in this kind of thing, because we're going to try to apply logic and all kind of things like that, and it's just never going to fit. This is not bringing up the whole talk about European as if to suggest I am defending European position, but it doesn't have anything to do with Europe. Europe weren't the one that created mythology. They learned about mythology from the Egyptians. But your assessment of things, I totally agree with your assessment, Regine. I'll just rest it there for now.
Well, give thanks as we're sealing up to. I will make it be that too, and I'll make King Rasta Adonis. I know you have an appointment as well. I'll make you seal up and Rasta Cipher, and then we bless it out. Yes.
Yes.
Give us your sealing words.
Yeah. Well, we wasn't defending a literalist perspective. We were just defending textual analysis and developing our own insights into chronologists. I give thanks for the reasoning here, the Rasta Roundtable. Give thanks, Honorable Priest Isaac. Give thanks, Rasta Son. I like the vigorous discussion, but no disrespect, but just for us to, iron sharpen iron. Rasta for Selassie, Rasta Koma, peace, Rastafari, peace.
Yeah, I know, guys. And so we going over to Rastafari Jews, isn't it?
Actually, Rastafari Israelites.
Rastafari Israelites.
Yeah, we'll try to get up there with a few things. It's a quiet taste. It may not be everyone's
On
taste,
YouTube.
but so be it.
Yes,
sir.
King Cypher Selassie. He was just
Yes.
speaking words. And the people too, eh? It's not just I here.
Yes, they were all
And
of
the
the
people there, especially those on YouTube, we have there touching 100. Just knock the thumbs buttons for me again, please.
Thumbs up, thumbs up.
Thumbs up and likes and loves and all of them things. Make other people see it. Eh? And give thanks to all those who would have shared the link.
Sorry.
Yes,
Cypher Selassie, give us the sealing words, my lord.
Yes, I'll say to all of the audience, blessed love. I'll say to everyone on the panel, give thanks for the presence and give thanks for the lively discussion. And I would also say that I wouldn't like to be misrepresented, because one thing that hasn't happened yet, I was just trying to lay a foundation to bring in my certain paradigm of astronomy and the astronomical level of the Ethiopian kingdoms. I am no way a literalist. I don't believe in the literal thing of the Bible. When I say I don't believe in it, there's many truths in the Bible, but you don't know what I actually teach. Rasta, my brethren, who just said that I'm trying to come with a literalist interpretation of the Bible. I did try to push out, to drop a bombshell, I would say, is to say the whole of this thing comes from Ethiopia and goes the other way. It doesn't come from Jerusalem into Ethiopia. You know, I've got so much information which I can share astronomically, etymologically. I'm very versed on the Ethiopian way of worship, and I wish to bring that forward. You know, where it brings us with a certain, gives us a certain different interpretation. Even the idea of Hebrew comes from an Ethiopian concept of Yekebru. That's, you know, something I'm just putting out there just to say. Yekebru is the day after the finding of the true cross. It is when the power of the cross becomes active, which is and the true cross is where the Sirius star crosses the ecliptic of the sun. This is where I'm coming from. This is the level that I'm dealing with, brethren. So I'm not dealing with no literalist Bible interpretation. I can assure you of that. So I would leave it there. I give thanks and I look forward to come back and deal with the matter.
Well, yes, my Lord. I bless out each and every one. Give thanks, love and majesty. Of course, you know, we'll bless again and give thanks to each and every one that, you know, has joined us internationally. I myself will just say a few words to the family as well before I definitely seal out. But Ras and Koma Dread, give thanks, my Lord. King Ras Cypher Selassie, give thanks, my Lord. And of course, the mighty Ras Idonis, and of course, King Isern. Ras Kwame as well was with us, but somehow he went out. We didn't even hear a word from King Kwame. But I hope next time around we get a word. Or even before that, you know, Ras Kwame, you know, let's link up. I might touch base with you, especially since you haven't had a word. It would be good that myself and yourself do a program before next Rasta Roundtable, you know, maybe on a, let's just say an analysis on this program. I myself have a few things I would like to say, but again, it was really in the interest of time, and at least if myself and yourself get together on it, at least maybe on that level, we could surely do something as it relates to that. So family, give thanks to the full Radio Anu family that has been with us, the international flavor, the universal spice. Of course, as always, we definitely leave you with a good word. Remember, it is almost the 1st of July, family. What's taking place on the 1st of July? Okay, you know, for sure, we definitely, that is one of the lifeline dates for you to get the international, I'm talking about ancient archaeoastronomy course for almost half of the price of the actual fee. So all you got to do is visit the website, that is priestisaacinstitute.com. The links will be in the description below, and you definitely see all the information there. As I said, we will put something together so we can get this information out a bit more clearer. You know, it's nice. Sometimes you hear back and forth and a little jumblish meditation does distort what you're really hearing. I like clarity because I like the truth. I like clarity, you know. And if an individual has time to express themselves properly with visual, PowerPoint, whatever you may want to call it, and the audience could understand exactly what they're saying, and the script and the literature is before your faces, and you can read it and see it, and in living color and motion and everything, you have a better understanding of what they're saying. One's maybe speaking of an artifact, they found this and found that, but when they show you what they found in living color on the screen, you have a better understanding of exactly what they're saying. So it may need that, because we're here to teach. We're here to edify the young ones, at least that's what I'm here to do. And there's a lot of good knowledge and information happening here. Even though it's on 2 sides or 3 sides or 4 or 5 sides of the paradigm of thinking and ideas and theological outlooks, but still, if you are seeking for knowledge, it's good stuff. Take it from me. Beautiful. The family, give thanks again to the life giver and the keeper of life. Of course, you know, keep it locked to Radio Anu. Those of you who are on Radio Anu for sure, you stay right here. A lot of beautiful stuff on the way. Blessed love, I am the Honorable Priest Isaac. I am an official priest within the realms of Rastafari of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. I also hold a certification in the craft of archaeoastronomy from Politecnico di Milano in Italy. Our universe and its makeup has always been an intriguing subject for humankind. Astronomy is the study of everything in the universe beyond the Earth's atmosphere. Ancient astronomy is similar, but pays special attention to the physical and spiritual values of stars, planets, moons, and other celestial objects. It also brings in the terrestrial component, being things on an earthly plane, such as plants, human organs, and connects them to the heavenly bodies. In this course, you will learn the makeup of various planets and stars, how to locate them in the night sky, along with their associated constellations. You will also be taught about the earliest civilizations known for their astronomical comprehension, namely Kush, also known as ancient Ethiopia, Kemet, called Egypt today, the Dogons, and the Bozos, as well as the civilization of Sumer. You will also learn about black holes, their nature and origin, as well as how the ancients viewed them. Ancient astronomy is the mother of archaeoastronomy and astrotheology. Both subject areas are covered by the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. Sign up today. Visit our website, priestisaacinstitute.com, or email us, priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com, for more information.